Hello, friends. This is Sonu Yadav, and welcome to all of you at your favorite YouTube channel. Let's compete with the second episode of India China border disputes. Friends, today we start with the disputed territory where China claims in the Indian territory, and territory can be divided into three parts of India: western sector, middle sector, and eastern sector. In western sector, China claims Aksai Chin, Changchenmo Valley, Pangong Lake, Spangur Tso, area of northern Ladakh, strip length of land about 5,000 square kilometers down the entire length of eastern Ladakh. In middle sector, Barahoti, Nilang, Jadung, Sangchamalla, Laptal, Chuchije, Sipkila, Pushing, Sundo, Barahoti. And in eastern sector, Kameng Printer Division, Lloyd Division, Tamang Longju, all in Arunachal Pradesh. Friends, as per Indian claim, India shares total 3,488 km long boundary with China that covers from Ladakh to Tai Junction Point near Talu Pass, Arunachal Pradesh. The LAC is generally divided in three sectors. I have already told you. Western Ladakh, Exciting and POK. Middle covers Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. And Eastern covers Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. Hence, it is true that there was no historical demarcation on ground between India and Tibet, but there are historical evidences in which the delimitation of boundary Ladakh and Tibet has been mentioned. The oldest record belongs to the king of Ladakh, namely Skyde Ida Nagemagon. In this regard, the Ladakhi king Skyde Ida Nagemagon divided his kingdom in three parts among his three sons in the following manner. First, eldest son, Ladakh and Puri extending from Henlet on the east to Jojila Pass on the west, and including Rudok and the Gogpo Gold district. To the second son, Guge, Purang, and certain other smaller districts. And to the third son, it was Janskar, Spiti, and certain small districts. Friends, and in the peace treaty 1684 between Ladakh and Tibet at Tingmosangang, it is specifically mentioned that the boundary is fixed in the beginning when King Skyde Idanigma gave his kingdom to each of his three sons shall be maintained. So to say that there was no demarcation is true, but to say there is no demarcation on the border between Ladakh and Tibet is not true. The Treaty of Chushul 1852 between the ruler of Jammu Maharaja Gulab Singh and the then Tibetan government under suzerainty of Qin China took place, and this treaty clearly says that all established frontiers between Ladakh and Tibet will be restored and both sides will remain in their respective territories. Agreement between Tibet and Kashmir in 1852 again reaffirmed the traditional boundary of Tibet and Kashmir. A convention between British and China took place in 1890 at Calcutta relating to boundary of Sikkim and Tibet, but Tibet did not recognize it as there was no representative of Tibet in the convention and the convention remained as dead. This shows that Tibet had the power to do treaty with the foreign countries. This is against the Chinese claim that Tibet had no right in foreign affairs. Friends, I have already told you about some important treaties done by Tibetan or on behalf of Tibet. This clearly shows that the right of Tibet relating to the foreign affairs. Apart from the geographical differences, the ethnicity also plays an important role for the demarcation of the boundary, and it is pertinent to mention that the people of Ladakh, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh belong to Tibetan strain. Across the India-China border, there have been migration of people, but no political invasion, and the question of change in the national boundaries never arose. Ladakh. Ladakh spread Buddhism much earlier than Tibet, and Tibet became the religious master of Ladakh after 1640 when hierarchy of Dalai Lama was founded in Lhasa. Ladakh was never the part of Tibet since the ancient time, but was in religious influence of Dalai Lama after 1640. Friends, apart from geography and ethnicity, It is the history mythology that supports the Indian claim or the territory claimed by China. Mahabharata, Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Rig Veda, and many more sacred texts define the Himalaya as a northern boundary of India. Many Indian empires, including Maurya and Gupta, not only ruled up to the water bodies of the modern boundary, but also several times crossed the boundary also. Yuan brought out the fact that Kashmir, Ladakh, Nepal, Assam, including present-day Arunachal Pradesh, was being ruled by the Indian king. Ladakh was never in the political influence of Tibet, yet it was the religious influence of Tibet over Ladakh. Maximum time in the history, Ladakh was ruled either by the local Ladakhi kings or by the Indian king directly or indirectly, but was never fully ruled by the Tibet. And in the modern days, British recognized Gulab Singh as the Maharaja of entire Kashmir and Ladakh. Friends, as far as Tibet is concerned, it is believed the first king of Jalung dynasty, Netrat Senpuk, came from Kosal, Magadha Empire, and established his kingdom there. Tibetan history has the roots in India. Tibet was always a separate state, not the part of China. Only in 18th century, for a short period, Tibet was actually under the Chinese rule. Tibet was attacked in 1841 by Dogra General Jalal Singh, in 1856 by Nepal, in 1904 by British, but China was never in picture. But in October 7, 1950, China started its military adventure for Tibet, and finally adventure was completed in 1959. The demarcation in the history could not be known as there were many inaccessible lands in the Himalaya, and to access in the inaccessible land with the technology of those days was not possible. Himalaya acted as a natural barrier and the natural boundary between India and China. Tibet. Himalaya restricted the movement of people of both the sides across the border, so there was no great need to demarcate the border. But with the advancement of technology, the inaccessible lands of Himalayas became accessible, and the barren land converted into land of minerals and fresh water. Overall, the land was left unused in the overall history of both the countries became important and became the region of dispute between the two countries as the work of demarcation was never done, but there was no dispute at that time. If this dispute exists now, the work of both the countries should be done now, and geographical factors may be considered to determine the boundary, but China and India have made it the matter of prestige, and none wants to surrender the land to other. So, in the present circumstances, this will go on, and both the countries will continue to spend a lot of expenditure on military expenses in the region. Friends, I think the video is sufficient long today, and sufficient knowledge has been given. Another part of the video with the episode third will be brought later. Now I close the video. Before closing the video, I request all of you, please like the video, subscribe the channel, and have a comment in the comment section. With this, I finally close the video. Have a good day, friends.